Welcome to this episode of Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted. Real women, real stories, real journeys, and no filter. Join Gina, your host, to share the experiences and stories of solo female travelers and advocates from all over the world, with a mission to empower women of all ages, backgrounds, and life stages to embrace solo female travel with confidence and enthusiasm, while being authentic and real, unscripted. Confronting the challenges and apprehensions many women face when considering solo adventures, providing inspiration to break through those barriers, sharing how life transitions, loss, and trauma can lead to amazing experiences, rediscovery, and life journeys. The good, the bad, and the ugly of authentic and honest travel. So let's throw out the script, get comfy, and jump right into this episode.
Ever wondered about using travel as a healing journey and catalyst for courage? Joining me is Gina Oliver. She is the founder of Ways Enterprise Co., a location-independent podcaster's social media management studio for female-owned wellness brands. After 7 years abroad, she's unlearned a lot of societal norms and built up their core values: community, wellness, and connection. She hopes to inspire you to live well through her work and podcast, Ripple FX. Join us as we chat about practical tips for safe solo travel and authentic travel experiences, and so much more. Buckle up and let's dive in. Welcome everyone, and I'm so excited to welcome Gina Oliver, another Gina, to the show. So good to have you here.
Yes, double Ginas.
Yeah. And tell everyone where you're coming from today.
Yes, so I am in San Juanillo, Costa Rica, and I'm currently doing a work exchange at a wellness center.
Nice, and we'll explore that a little bit because I want to hear all about that since we talked last. So you've moved a little bit, but I'm really excited to hear about all those adventures. And our signature pass a parcel question is how I start every episode. So this is a pretty basic one, but it's a real basic one for everybody who travels anyway. So what is your favorite way to pack for your travels?
I like to roll my clothes up. I'm sure a lot of people do that as well. I find that it just saves space, and like something else that I do is like I'll put socks inside of my shoes, my gym shoes, so I'm saving space as well there.
Yeah, it's really contentious issue. You're either a folder or a roller.
Yeah.
I always find it really funny. I'm a folder, so I totally relate. And I use packing cubes as well. I find them amazing just to keep things really compact. So yeah, it's really funny. I always ask people that anyway. Are you a folder or are you a roller? It's a bit of like a window or an aisle seat. So thanks for sharing that. So, you know, when we started connecting, I really loved something you shared to me about how you've seen travel can become both a healing journey, but also a catalyst for a courageous life. You know, you're living in Costa Rica. Obviously, that was a big shift from your life in the US. So can you explain, like, on how it's been a healing journey for you, and then two, how it's changed your life design?
Yeah, so in 2019, I was really burnt out as a third grade teacher in Atlanta, Georgia. And I came home one day, told my husband, I can't do this anymore. I had gray hairs. I was just super burnt out, and I couldn't see teaching for 20 more years down the line. And so I told him I wanted to quit and that I really wanted to move abroad. It was something that I wanted to do in college, and I didn't get the opportunity to do it then. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to do it now. And I'm so, so grateful that he said yes. And from there, we decided on the Philippines, which is closer to you, but it's really far from the United States. And so from there, that started our whole journey abroad. So we moved in 2019 and have been just living in different countries ever since. And I would say unlearning a lot of societal norms that, you know, I had in the US in terms of work mentality or just the way that I grew up. And so I had to start by unlearning and realizing what those societal norms were to unlearn them. And then I got to see how other cultures live. And I really loved little pieces from every culture. And I feel like I've taken and implemented it into my own life. So that's what I mean when I say that travel has really been such a healing medium for me.
Yeah. And like you said, did you find like that first experience in the Philippines? Because, going to Southeast Asia from the US, if you haven't done that before, it can be quite a culture shock. Did you experience that initially?
Yeah, and I was very naive because I thought that because they spoke English in the Philippines that it was going to be easy, and it was not easy at all because there's so many pieces of their culture. For example, they just cross the street when they want to walk to the other side. And I was like, oh my God, because in the US, you can get a jaywalking ticket for that, you know? So that's just like one little thing that was really shocking to me.
Yeah, because I have been to a lot of countries, and yeah, crossing the road is like taking your life into your own hands. Vietnam last year was a perfect example of that. And you can't hesitate. Like, you've got to commit and go. And isn't it, that the society that we come from, there's laws and regulations around all that sort of thing. And then you go to something like that and you've just actually got to commit yourself. And I think that's sort of a metaphor for the whole experience, isn't it?
Yeah, I went to Vietnam as well. And I think it's interesting that even when you will cross, they just like make sure that they don't hit you. Like they just go around you. And it's like, wow, you guys are really great drivers.
Yeah, the chaos works. Believe me, people. It is a lot to get your head around. But one, they don't want to hit you. If they can, they actually don't want to hit you. And it is an amazing thing to see that chaos working so beautifully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just somehow works.
Yeah, exactly. So when you obviously then were in the Philippines, how did you end up in Costa Rica?
So we were in the Philippines for 2 years, and we then moved a little bit closer to home. We moved to Mexico. And so from there, we kind of bopped around a little bit in Latin America. We went to Guatemala as well. And then we made our way back to the middle of the world. So we were in Europe. And so recently this year, we just moved to Costa Rica. So we've kind of been all over. And we came back to Costa Rica because it's a little bit closer to home, and we wanted to have the proximity to visit family or them visit us a little bit easier.
Have you found that transition moving there easy, or were there any challenges in doing it?
Yeah, I would say so. Before this, we were in Malta, and we were there for 2 years. And so from Malta to here, it was quite a change in that there's so much nature here. And of course, there's nature in Malta, but mostly like as far as the animals, there's only like stray cats in Malta. So to be here and see monkeys in the trees, or cows, just wild cows in your backyard, or, all these types of birds is really incredible.
Yeah, I think that's because I live in the country here. We don't have monkeys, obviously, but it's just being immersed in nature is such... We're so homogenized sometimes. We don't get to experience that. And I think it's a really wonderful thing.
Yeah, it just really makes you in awe of all of the different species and just how magical it is. And just living among them, it has really been a gift here.
I love that. So now you're at a wellness center doing a work exchange. So I've done like work away and woofing. I think you probably know what woofing is. It's willing workers on organic farms, for people who don't know out there. It's an amazing way to travel or supplement your travel. So can you explain like the sort of work exchange you're doing? Are there other experiences like that you have had, and do you recommend it as a way to travel?
Yeah, actually, I haven't heard of woofing, so I'll have to look that up. That's really
It's a funny one. Going woofing, people go, what?
Yeah, I like that. So I actually found this work exchange on Facebook. So it wasn't through a workaway, but we have done a couple workaways in Mexico and we can't rave enough about them.
Yeah.
My husband and I really learned a lot through the ones that we did in Mexico, and we got to do what we're doing in our business, which is social media. So we got to create content, with these hostels, and one was a boat company, a boat tour company in Mexico. And now here we're doing the same thing. So we're creating content for this wellness center, and it's really been so cool to create in person and really just feel people's energy and just learn from the community that we're in. And so I would totally recommend for anyone who wants to travel and like get to know a culture a little bit more but is hesitant. I think a workaway or a woofing is a great way to do that, because you get to practice a skill set and learn, and you get sort of a community, and they help you. Usually someone hosts you, and yeah, I really love work exchanges.
Yeah, it's definitely a different way. It's not for everybody, and it's definitely leans into the slow travel category because you do obviously need more time. But I mean, I've been very lucky. I've woofed and done work away in like Italy and Morocco and Wales, and yeah, I can't rave about it more. I learned new skills, and also the thing is, you actually get to be in the community. You're not just having that authentic experience for a day, which you might do when you're traveling. You're actually really in the communities, the small communities. That's what I loved, and I'm sure you've had the same experience.
Yeah, I think the community aspect is really important to me. And because when you are traveling, you have to plan, and so you put a lot of energy and effort into planning, but then it's a whole nother thing to try and find friends and find people that you want to go do activities with, So this way you have sort of everything built into one.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually sort of want to go back to what you said right at the beginning, how you were a school teacher, and that's a big career for anybody and a really important one. And then to say that and to be honest with yourself that you didn't actually want that at that time anymore. Are there people around you that thought you were a bit crazy?
Totally. My parents were not accepting. I was trying to choose my words wisely there. They really didn't accept the fact that I went to college, invested, and now I'm basically in their eyes throwing it away. And so there was a period of time when we were in the Philippines where I didn't talk to them because we just didn't see eye to eye. And, when you're living this lifestyle and you decide to make this huge adjustment in your life, you can't. Did you hear that thunder?
Yeah, and I might keep that in because that's really cool. But yeah, carry on.
It's a place where you don't need any negative energy. And so I really just was in my own bubble, making my own new life. And I just really had to block that out for some time. Now we're good. But at the time, yeah, I had my parents and some friends as well. They just didn't really understand.
Yeah, and I get that because I went and, I sold up everything, at 40 and went and did a big overseas experience. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought I was a bit crazy because the thing is, and I think it is a very Western cultural norm, is we need security, and to let go of that security, it's a really, really scary thing. It was scary for me, and I'm sure it was scary for you. I mean, there's excitement, but there's also that fear. Am I doing the right thing? Am I letting everything go that I've worked for? Because that's the thing. We're taught we've got to work towards these goals. And when you strip that all away, but then I think, one, you can always go back to teaching. It's an amazing career to have, and you can always go back to it. You can use that anywhere in the world. So it's always there for you. And the skills you're learning now, that if you ever do go back to it, what you'll be able to share with your students is more invaluable than anything else in a classroom.
Totally. Yeah. I feel like, I didn't go to school. I didn't go to business school. I didn't go to any sort of schooling for like tourism or anything like that. So I really just have taught myself for the past 7 years. And I have learned so much from the world in the last 7 years that no one can take that away from me, you know?
Yeah, and lean into, explain what you do now with how you help people with their social media and everything like that, and the fact that you can do that remotely.
Yeah. So my business is called Wave Enterprise, and we do podcast and social media marketing for female owned wellness brands. So it's very niche. And the way that that came about was that when we were in the Philippines, we were unlearning a lot, as I said. And so we were naturally into like spirituality and self development and mindset and, you know, all of these things to better ourselves, and really just consuming so much of this growth mindset material. And so we naturally were gravitating towards women in the wellness space. And I feel strongly that women owned businesses will change the world. And I think that they are not amplified enough. And so that's sort of how our niche came to be. And of course, during the pandemic, everyone started a podcast. So my husband is an audio engineer. He's gone to school for this. And I was like, why don't we offer podcast editing services and management? And so that came in under our repertoire of services. And so, yeah, we've differentiated ourselves in this way. And the work that we're doing feels very purposeful.
I love that you, and I really emphasize this on every platform that I share this message, is there's never a time that you can't reinvent yourself. It doesn't matter your age or your background, you can reinvent yourself and never stop learning. Like me doing, like I've just been doing this podcast now a year, and it was a really scary thing for me to go into because it's definitely not in my comfort zone. And hats off to you, because the editing side, oh my God, but once you get the hang of it. So yeah, learning all that was totally foreign to me. And if you'd asked me a few years ago, would I be doing this? I would have said no. But like when I started my business and travel, you know, it's all an evolution. Who's to say where you'll be in another 5 years or another 10 years? And how would you encourage people to really feel that?
Well, I wanted to say first, congrats on your year anniversary of this podcast. That's amazing. I think that reinventing yourself is scary because it's the unknown, but there might be so many different facets of yourself that you don't know about if you're just scared to try something new. So my advice is just do it. Like, just do it. There's nothing, fear shouldn't hold you back.
Yeah.
And if it does, then you're just going to stay the same. And if that's okay for you, then that's okay. But I know you're someone who is always reaching growth, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, exactly. In your travels, just speaking of fear, have you done anything that you've never done before and you've tried and you went, oh my God, like a new thing, like it could be like paragliding or abseil, I don't know. Is there something you've done in your travels that you would never, ever think you would have done?
I mean, living in a jungle is probably something I don't think I would have ever done 7 years ago. I mean, there's bugs, there's snakes, there's all kinds of critters, you know, and that's just part of it. And I know a lot of people are afraid of bugs and snakes and stuff like that, but after you live like this and you really put yourself out there and you push your comfort zone, you realize just how much capacity you have. Like, oh, there's just a bug, it's fine. Like, he's just living here too, and that's just what he's doing, and it's not going to bother me. And so when you push yourself and go past your threshold of what you think you're comfortable with, then you strengthen your capacity for more.
Yeah. And I think people, especially I think more in cities, can live in such a sterilized environment. I can remember a place I used to stay in Thailand when I used to go there to volunteer at a dog rescue. And I'd stay at the same bungalow on the beach every time. It was really basic. It just had a cold shower. It had a bed and a fridge and a hammock. But that's all you need. But the mirror in the bathroom, there was this massive gecko that lived behind the mirror, and every year he was still there and he would stick his head out, and it's endearing. And that's the thing, we do live with nature, and we've got to like not freak out about there being a bug or a lizard. like the women that come on my retreats in Bali, you know, there's little lizards, little geckos that are on the wall. Well, they eat all the bugs. They're a good thing. I'm sure you have them there too. And it's,
and
embracing that.
Yeah, that's the thing about nature, is that an animal isn't going to just come up to you without it being provoked. So nature has a way of speaking to you, and it's really up to you to listen. Like, oh, this rattlesnake is making a noise. Let me back up, you know?
You'd think that would be a good sign for most people. Like, that's the thing. Most animals, if they're not into humans, will do avoidant tactics to let you know that they don't want you around, or it's not safe for you to be around. But I think, the bug thing too, that always makes me laugh. That, you know, if there's some countries, especially in jungle environments, you've really got to just go, okay, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
What is one of the things that I know a lot of people base their travels and how they travel on what they see on social media. And I think this is really relevant to you in twofold. One, because it's part of what you do, but also versus like the reality. And I know you do share it on your personal platforms, like the reality of what really goes on, because I know people see images of a certain location, go, I want to go there. Then they go there and they're disappointed because there's hordes of tourists, or, you know, the images they've seen have been photoshopped. What's your view on that and how social media plays a role in it?
I think that, I mean, me personally, I always try to go somewhere that's very local, really no one knows about it. And because I want to get the real essence of a place, I think it really depends on the person. Like, if you want to go to a place and you want to do all the touristy things and you want to get the Instagram photos, like maybe you follow some digital nomad influencers, right, on social media, and that's your vibe. That's what you want. But if you want the real local experience, you have to kind of detach from any expectations, any photos you might see on social media, and just know that every person traveling has their own way of doing it and their own experience. And it always comes with pieces that are unplanned, like a visa not working, or your shuttle is late, or whatever it is. You know, there's always, I guess, mishaps or negative parts of travel. So that just comes with the territory.
Yeah, and you've got to roll with it. And did you find that hard coming from the environment you were back home to having, like you said, it was a mindset change, to having to shift to sort of let those moments go when there were times when things didn't go to plan? Do you think you've changed from when you first handled those situations to how you handle those situations now?
Yeah, totally. I think that a lot of Americans specifically, I'm going to call you out right now, Americans, but I think that a lot of us just think that our way is right and there's not another way that's better or another way that's different. So, like, for example, I mean, I grew up and I had a washer and a dryer, but a lot of countries that I've lived in, they only have washers. Like, they don't do dryers. They just use the sun, and that's fine. It's just a different way to get the same thing. It doesn't mean it's better.
Yeah, there's two things that you touched on, which I share all the time. I always say travel with no expectations, and then you're never disappointed. And everybody's travel experience is not necessarily going to be yours. So you touched on both those things. And I think that's something really relevant to any traveler out there to take on board, because what's like a bad experience one person's had doesn't mean it's going to be a bad experience for you. Well, you'd agree with that, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. I remember one time we went to Taiwan. It was super rainy. We went it was like 3 hours we drove to go up this mountain. And then we got there and it was closed. And we were like, oh, okay. And so we ended up just like eating at this amazing restaurant on the side of the road. It was my husband and I and like our driver, and it was awesome. And I remember that. And so that seemingly mishap or disappointment in our travels was something that I cherish, and I love that moment.
I couldn't agree more. So when I did my backpacking through Europe, So it was for my 40th birthday. And so I was arriving in Paris from New Zealand, and my thing was to go up the Eiffel Tower. So I booked the ticket in advance before I left New Zealand, because there's queues and stuff like that. Got there, met these awesome guys from the US. They were Latino, and spent the day with them. Was having such a good time. By the time we got to the Eiffel Tower, I was 15 minutes late. And I just went, And instead, at midnight, we grabbed a whole lot of really cheap wine, sat on the park by the Eiffel Tower, and it lit up at night, which I didn't know at that stage it did. That was more special. And I never went up the Eiffel Tower.
At least you got to see it from down below.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, there are going to be times when things don't work out. I think the important thing is to be open to what that may lead to and the different encounters you might have.
Yeah, exactly. It's just detaching from your expectations.
Yeah. So as we sort of round out this episode, if someone's thinking of taking that leap, of changing their life, either moving abroad or trying to travel for longer term, is there one really, I know you said like just do it, but is there one really good gem of advice you'd give them to take that step?
I think just booking your flight, that's the first step. And even if that means you don't have everything else figured out, at least you have the flight, so you have a designated amount of time to figure out all the things, and you will figure it out.
Yeah, I love that, because it sort of gives you, in a way, a deadline. And I think when people are giving dates, there's sort of that more motivation to work towards something. So yeah. Sometimes I end rounds with a quick fire one. So I'm going to ask you 5 quick fire questions. I know it's a bit corny, but it's sometimes quite fun.
I love it.
So here's a really good one. If you had a superpower, would you rather be able to speak all the languages in the world, or be able to teleport to anywhere in the world?
Speak all the languages.
Yeah, me too, I think. It'd be so cool to understand everybody when they're talking about you, when they walk past you in the street. Here's a real basic one. What is your best tip for actually taking a selfie?
Clean your lens.
That's a really good idea. What's another one? Here's actually a really good one for all the female travelers out there. What is your best solo safety travel tip?
Don't walk with headphones on.
That's such a good one. Yeah, that's so good. Best travel wellness routine. What's one thing that you love to do to connect with your wellness while traveling?
Movement. I think it's important, especially if you have long flights, to move your body, because your digestion gets out of whack. Your whole body does. So just moving.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because a lot of people talk about traveler's belly, and I sometimes don't. It's not always the food. It's the fact your routine's totally out of whack. Yeah, especially in countries like where you are now, and that where a lot of the produce is really fresh, processed, like your body doesn't know what to do with that. Yeah, so that's one thing I always tell all my travelers, just to be aware of that. So that's really good. So what is your question that you're going to ask for our Pass the Parcel question for the next guest?
It's a good one.
Can be anything.
What is usually the first thing that you do when you get to a new destination?
I like that. I do free walking tours if it's a city. That's what I like to do.
I usually unpack everything.
Yeah, I do unpack. But free walking tours I love, because if it's a city I haven't been to, usually it's locals that are doing those things, and they get to take you to places that you probably wouldn't have found on a map, and navigate the city. So I always do them first. I find them really fun too, and usually you meet people on them too.
That's a great tip. I love that. I'll have to see if there's any walking tours near me.
Yeah, and usually it's just a tip you've got to give the guide, and they're locals. So yeah, it's one really cool thing. So if anyone wants to find you, what is the best way? And I am going to pop all your details down below in the show notes for everybody.
So I'm on Instagram, Wave Enterprise Co., and our website is Wave Enterprise Co. as well. So you can connect with me if you're into social media, podcasting, or life abroad.
Yeah, and I'm going to feel lots of pressure editing this episode now. with having you on the other end. No, it's been such a pleasure to have you here, and I'm so glad we finally got to talk. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Gina, for having me. I'm really grateful that you provided some time for me, and I hope this reaches all of the women that it should.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's the thing. I think the message out of this is don't let fear hold you back. And if you want to do anything, just take that leap and give it a try. What's the worst thing that can happen? So remember, everyone, to stay tuned to the next episode. And it's never too late to unleash your wanderlust. Till next time.
Thanks for listening. Please share the love by liking, commenting, or subscribing, or join us in our Facebook community.